Welcome back, everyone. Today we are going to take a look at a 2007 horror and thriller film called Trick or Treat. Spoilers ahead. At the beginning of the movie, some rules are told about Halloween. These rules are always walk on the sidewalks, never go to a stranger's house, and never go out alone. The first story opens up with a couple, Emma and her Halloween loving husband, Henry. They return home after attending a party. They seem to be tired. Emma gets irritated by the Halloween decorations and blows out their jack-o'-lantern. She does not listen to Henry when he advises her to stop, as it is against the tradition. He tells her that all the people celebrate Halloween and follow the rules, but his wife does not agree. He also tries to persuade her to spend some personal time with him, but she refuses because she hates Halloween. She wants to remove all decorations before midnight. He tells her that he will do it for her in the morning, but she says that he will get busy with his video game. She also tells him that her mother, who will arrive the following day, would not enter the house if she sees the mess. Then she asks Henry to go and take a rest. Henry goes inside the house and puts on the tape, Natural Special. Meanwhile, Emma begins tearing down the front lawn decorations. She switches off all the lights and then she begins to uncover all the sculptures. She sees a man in a black costume with a spooky mask on his face in front of her house. She gets terrified because the man seems to stand still. But she takes on a sigh of relief when a car approaches the man and he takes off his mask before getting in. While cleaning up the decorations, Emma is ambushed and murdered by an unseen assailant. The killer's face remains hidden, but he has a lollipop in his hand. Henry wakes up in the middle of the night and goes out to see Emma. He discovers her mutilated corpse on a display with decorations. A lollipop had also been thrusted into her mouth, which the murderer had in his hand. Then we are introduced to Lori, a self-conscious young woman who arrives at a Christmas party with her sister Danielle and her friends Maria and Janet. They pick up their dating partners except Lori, who wants her first time to be special, so she declines their invitation of a get-together to enjoy the town festival. Then a fat, mischievous boy called Charlie is shown, who breaks the pumpkin lights put on the fences of the houses. He spoils the entire Halloween decorations of each house in the neighborhood. He also has a white sack in his hand, which he drags on the ground while walking. He steals candy from the bowl left by a school principal, Stephen Wilkins. His principal arrives and catches him on the spot. They both sit on the staircase outside the house. The principal tells him about the rules of Halloween that must be followed. Charlie eats a bar of chocolate while listening to the event's rules, and all of a sudden he starts vomiting blood because of the chocolate and his condition begins to worsen. Principal Stephen Wilkins tells him that he has told him many times to eat the chocolates after checking. Then he reveals that he laced the chocolate with poison. Principal Stephen Wilkins takes his dead body to bury somewhere. Meanwhile, a group of children appear in front of his house. These children are Macy, Sarah, Chip, and Schrander. Principal Stephen Wilkins hands out candies to all of them. There is also a child standing behind those children who has covered his whole head, and the name of his child is Sam. Sam also leaves after taking the candies from the principal. Then the principal takes the dead body into the backyard. While burying the body, the principal Stephen Wilkins is continually interrupted by his young son Billy and his reclusive neighbor Mr. Craig. A dead body is already lying in the backyard. Mr. Craig asks Stephen Wilkins to get out of the backyard and stop making the noise. Finally, the principal succeeds in burying those dead bodies. When he returns, Mr. Craig is seen trying to say something to him through the window, but Stephen Wilkins ignores him as both the men are not on good terms with each other. As Stephen Wilkins enters his own house, he doesn't find his son, but suddenly he shows up as he jumps out and scares him. Wilkins tells Billy it is time to carve the jack-o'-lantern and guides him downstairs, hiding a knife behind his back. Wilkins intends to stab Billy, but later on it is revealed that the knife was actually plunged into Charlie's head. Then the same children are shown, who had visited Principal Stephen Wilkins' house to take candies. These children collect jack-o'-lanterns to fulfill their pursuit. On the way, they encounter an innocent girl, Rhonda. She likes Halloween a lot and becomes part of their group. The group travels to a local flooded quarry where Macy reveals the urban legend of the Halloween school bus massacre, which claimed the lives of 8 children with their disabilities in a school bus on Halloween. The driver, who had been paid by their worn-out parents over the quarry edge with the children shackled inside. The children perished, and the driver was never heard from again. Macy announced that they will leave 8 jack-o'-lanterns by the lake as a tribute to the dead children. Rhonda goes down with Chip through an elevator. She then observes that there is a school bus ahead. She understands immediately that the story is narrated by Macy is true. Rhonda is suddenly attacked by some people, and they look like zombies. She runs away from them to save her life, but loses her balance and falls into a pothole. When she restores her senses, the group then poses as the undead kids who prank a terrified Rhonda. Rhonda feels very bad and goes back to the elevator. Rhonda stays at the elevator while the group cleans their props. Macy ends up kicking one of the lanterns into the quarry, causing the real zombie children to appear. Sarah gets caught by the zombies when the group flees to the elevator. They beg Rhonda to let them in the elevator quickly. They tell her that this time it is not a prank, but Rhonda does not believe them. So, she takes the elevator up, leaving all of them there, and quietly walks home as she hears the screaming group being torn apart and eaten by the 8 zombie children. On her way, she briefly encounters Sam while leaving, and the two exchange a meaningful glance. The next scene opens with a girl who is shown romancing with a guy who is dressed as a vampire. The girl is covered in blood and she finds the guy is a real vampire. She runs and cries for help, but no one listens to her because everybody thinks that she has worn her costume for Halloween. Finally, the vampire kills her and leaves her to the side of the road with a few drunk people. Her dead body is not noticed as everyone around is tipsy. Later, Lori is shown, who is still searching for a partner to go to the party with. On her way to the town festival, she encounters a hooded serial killer dressed as a vampire who attacks her. Then, at a bonfire, Lori's sister and friends are shown who are waiting for her. Suddenly, they spot a man who is severely injured falling out of a tree in Lori's red dress. They unmask him, and it is revealed that he is Stephen Wilkins, the school's principal, who killed the small boy Charlie. He was not a vampire and just disguises himself as a vampire so he can kill people. Lori arrives there and she tells them that he attacked her. One of the girls, named Maria, takes out the vampire's fake teeth. Wilkins asks them how he has been brought here, and he is frightened to witness the many corpses around those girls. Here is the truth about those girls is exposed. They are not normal human beings, but werewolves who disguise themselves as humans. Lori also tells them that she has decided to join them for this occasion, and the girls transform into werewolves. They tear off their fake human skins and start devouring Wilkins. While all of this happens, Sam is witnessing everyone at the feast. After this, a flashback is shown. A few trick-or-treaters dressed in clown costumes with the bags of candy in their hands go to Mr. Krieg's house, but he scares them away by his dog, Spite, as he does not like Halloween at all. He never celebrates this festival and never takes part in it. Then, he is seen burning a few photos. As the night proceeds, Mr. Krieg begins to encounter escalating phenomena. Someone eggs his window, and he sees that his lawn is filled with jack-o'-lanterns. He then hears a sound from his bedroom. His dog, Spite, goes out to the room but does not return. He takes out his gun, and when he gets there, he sees something shaking under the quilt on the bed. Under the quilt, he finds a moving little hand. Suddenly, a jack-o'-lantern is lit up. After that, he discovers the walls and ceilings of the bedroom are painted with bloody Halloween greetings. Mr. Krieg is then attacked by Sam, hiding beneath the bed. He gets wounded on the lower part of his leg, and he falls on the floor with a long shriek. Then Sam comes out and moves towards Mr. Krieg. He disappears when Mr. Krieg shoots at him. The older man limps heavily as he goes out of the bedroom. He loses his balance on the staircase, which is spilled with sharp little objects, and he gets injured badly. He moves towards the main door and tries to unlock it. Suddenly, he hears a purl of weird laughter, and Sam attacks him from the ceiling. Mr. Krieg tries to get Sam off him and succeeds by throwing him on the floor. He then goes to his window and begs Stephen Wilkins to help him. This explains the scene from when Stephen Wilkins was returning home from the backyard. He sees Mr. Krieg yells from the window, but he ignores it. While Mr. Krieg pleads Stephen Wilkins from the window, Sam attacks him again and hits him on the face, and in return, he gets unmasked and is revealed to be a malicious pumpkin-headed child. Sam's supernatural powers enabled him to have an upper hand in the fight, and he eventually succeeded to deliver the killing blow to Mr. Krieg. However, Sam ends up stabbing a chocolate bar that had landed in Mr. Krieg's lap by mistake, which he then takes and eats, thus making Mr. Krieg complete the tradition of handing out candy on Halloween. Sam seems victorious, and he leaves a confused Mr. Krieg by giving him one last warning glance. Then, the photographs in the fireplace reveals the story that Mr. Krieg was the bus driver that killed the 8 children many years ago on the day of Halloween. Later, Mr. Krieg is again seen, who has turned into a good human being. He begins giving out candy to the children, and then he sees Rhonda, who is pulling her pumpkin cart. He sees Billy handing out treats to the other kids while wearing a costume resembling his father's outfit. He looks at Lori, her sister, and her friends driving along the road while having a great time. They have transformed into human beings again. He catches sight of Sam watching Emma and Henry return home, and it is the same couple we see at the beginning of the movie. Here, it is revealed that the murder of Emma was no one else but Sam. He returns inside only to receive a knock on the door. Mr. Krieg opens it, revealing the 8 resurrected children waiting for him. The concluding scene of the movie shows that Mr. Krieg is dismembered and all 8 children have gotten their vengeance, and the movie ends. Thanks for watching, guys.